What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, we're going to talk about Kyle Busch in his first year at Richard Childress Racing so far. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. At the end of the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season, after driving for Joe Gibbs Racing for 15 years, Kyle Busch would leave Joe Gibbs Racing to join a new organization in 2023, and that, of course, is Richard Childress Racing. Obviously, we also knew that the fact that Tyler Reddick would be leaving Richard Childress Racing at the end of 2022 to drive for 23XI Racing after Kurt Busch announced he would not be running full-time in 2023, meaning that the A-car would be available for Kyle Busch heading into 2023 and would also have a really strong crew chief in Randall Burnett being the crew chief for that team. A lot of people had pretty low expectations for Kyle Busch heading into the 2023 season, as Kyle Busch the last 2 or 3 years had kind of struggled. In the previous 3 seasons, Kyle Busch had only scored a combined 4 victories, once in 2020 at Texas, twice in 2021 at Kansas and Pocono, and 2022 at Bristol Dirt, the second race at Bristol Dirt in the history of that track. So a lot of people were not expecting much from Kyle Busch. Even though RCR had been really good with Tyler Reddick, a lot of people thought that was just Tyler Reddick. But going into this year, like I said, a lot of people did not have high expectations. So how has the season gone for Kyle Busch so far? Well, I think Kyle Busch had a very strong season in 2023 that a lot of people would compare to his first year with Joe Gibbs Racing, where he scored 8 wins with his first year at Joe Gibbs Racing. Even though he didn't contend for the championship at the end of the season, he was up front contending for the points lead a lot of the year and won 8 races that season. So far in the 2023 season, in the first year of the Revenge Tour, Kyle Busch has scored 3 victories, has had 5 top 5s, 9 top 10s, has led 214 laps, and has a 12.1 average finish, which right now he is targeting to have his best average finish since his championship year in 2019. Now, I'm going to go through race by race and how Kyle Busch's season has gone so far. The season would kick off in the Busch Light Clash, and Kyle Busch, while he struggled in the beginning and got spun out by Joey Logano, he ended up rebounding and finishing in 3rd place and in a podium spot. After that, you had the Daytona 500, and Kyle Busch was actually leading at the 500-mile mark and was up front all month, had been really fast throughout the week. Unfortunately, ended up getting involved in the last lap wreck that was caused, I think, by Travis Stroll and Kyle Larson, a couple guys in the middle of the pack, but he would end up finishing 19th after crashing out, but he was very impressive in that race. Then the next week at Auto Club, he would accomplish something very early, and he would pick up his first win in nearly a year in the Lucas Oil colors and pick up his first win in Richard Childress Racing in only the 2nd race of the 2023 season. He had one of the fastest cars throughout the weekend and was really strong in the race and was able to pass Ross Chastain on pit road and was able to hold on and have a pretty big lead holding off Chase Elliott to get that victory, getting his first win with the Lucas Oil cars, with a lot of fans being really happy with Kyle Busch. Then next week in Las Vegas, a lot of us thinking that Kyle Busch was potentially going to go back-to-back, as Kyle Busch has been really good at Las Vegas throughout his career. And unfortunately kind of struggled throughout the weekend compared to the previous week at Auto Club, where Kyle Busch struggled a little bit and ended up finishing in 14th place. Ran top 10 quite a bit, the car kind of fell off and ended up finishing in 14th. Then the next week at Phoenix, they did have some pretty decent pace and pretty good speed, but they fell back throughout the field, but they did end up recovering to finish in 9th place, and I believe they had a speeding penalty throughout that race as well. Then the next week at Atlanta, they were one of the few Chevys that were really quick. Ford was extremely dominant at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and Kyle Busch ended up finishing in 10th place, scoring his 3rd top 10 of the 2023 season. Then the next week at Coda, they had one of the stronger cars in the field. Obviously, the A-car last year with Tyler Reddick was very strong, but no one knew how Kyle Busch was going to be because last year he struggled on road course as well. He got into that new sponsor, that being Netspend, which of course Kyle Busch had a lot of new sponsors. We'll get into a little bit later as well. But Kyle Busch ended up finishing runner-up to Tyler Reddick in this race and almost got his 2nd win of the 2023 season already, meaning that he was going to be very good on the road courses this season. Because rain kind of rained out basically practicing qualifying at Richmond, Kyle Busch actually started on the front row the next week at Richmond. However, Kyle Busch struggled throughout the race and fell outside the top 10 and did lead a lap, but unfortunately fell outside the top 10 and finished in 14th place. Then the next week at Bristol, which of course was ran on Easter, Kyle Busch actually had a really good car. It was in the top 5 a majority of the race. Unfortunately, Kyle Busch had a flat tire near the end of the race and spun out coming to pit road. I believe a caution was thrown, if I'm not mistaken, ended up finishing 32nd, which is a shame because Kyle Busch had a car that could easily won his race. Austin Dillon was really good too, but he's really good at Bristol. Dirt could have gone back-to-back. Then the next week at Martinsville, I think they probably had their weakest race up to this point so far. He was terrible, did not have great pace, did not have great speed, and finished 21st and got into some beef with Corey LaJoie. That being said, though, he did finish 21st, almost got a top 20, but sadly the race was not very good for him. But then the next week, Kyle Busch kind of made a little bit of a bold move to stay out and didn't come down pit road, but it would benefit after Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney had contact on the last lap. Kyle Busch would sneak through and pick up a second win of the 2023 season. We all knew Kyle Busch was really strong at super speedway tracks. He kind of got lucky from the wreck between Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney, but still, he was in the right position and right time and picked up his second victory. Then the next week at Dover, he actually started on the pole because once again, the race got rained out to Monday and Kyle Busch started on the pole and was actually in the race coming down pit road in the early going. However, Kyle Busch would speed on pit road, then spun out later, and ended up having a good day, and sadly ended up finishing in 21st position, I believe 1 lap down. Then the next week at Kansas, they had some really good, great pace and really great speed, probably a top 5 and top 10 speed. Unfortunately, they got into a crash, spun to the inside wall really, really hard, had too much damage, and then they fell out of the race. But this would be the low point for Kyle Busch, because since then, at Darlington, had top 5 and top 10 speed, was actually contending for the lead at one point, but unfortunately, on the second to last pit stop, he unfortunately ended up speeding on pit road. But he ended up recovering after all the wrecks happening late and recovered to end up finishing in 7th place. Then the next week at Charlotte for the Coke 600, Kyle Busch spun out near the middle portion of the race, but recovered, went backwards coming to pit road, by the way, and recovered and ended up finishing in 6th. And then the next week at Gateway, Kyle Busch would dominate, lead 121 of the 240 laps, and would go on to win his 3rd race of the 2023 season, which is the most dominant race Kyle Busch has had since his championship win in 2019 at Homestead. And then most recently at Sonoma, Kyle Busch had a very strong run, albeit he got benefited from a caution coming out, but he got benefited from a caution and ends up finishing in 2nd place and had at one point a shot to challenge Martin Truex Jr. to win, but he didn't have anything for Martin Truex Jr. near the end of the race as well. So that has been what's going on with Kyle Busch this season. So when you look at Kyle Busch, he's been having a lot of great pace and a lot of great speed. But one of the things is he's also been very inconsistent at times. So let's talk about the strengths and the weaknesses. Number 1, Kyle Busch has been really strong at the super speedways. He's been up front every super speedway race this year. He's kind of struggled the previous years to be good at super speedways, but I feel like with Rich Schultz Racing, he's been really fast at the super speedway tracks. The second type of track he's been really good at is the road courses. Kyle Busch has finished 2nd in both road course races this year. If they can find a little more pace and speed to match Toyotas, I think Kyle Busch will be contending for more road course victories and might get a road course win sometime this season, just like Tyler Reddick did last year in this 8 machine. He then also has been really good on the 1.5 mile and the 2 mile tracks as well, been up front at those types of tracks. But where are the weaknesses for Kyle Busch? Number 1, it has been the inconsistencies. They've had a lot of great pacing times, but they've also been inconsistent at times. I will say recently they've been more consistent, but the beginning of the year inconsistency has hurt Kyle Busch. The second thing they've struggled at is the short tracks. The short tracks have been a major factor to Kyle Busch's struggle so far in the 2023 season. They've got to work on that. They did have a really good run at Sonoma, and while Gateway's not a track that is with the short track package, you do imagine at Kyle Busch how good he ran at Gateway. They might be able to bring some stuff from Gateway over to Phoenix. But overall, in his first year at Kyle Busch being at RCR, he has exceeded my expectations. He's ran very well, he's ran really great, and has been up front on a consistent basis. And like I said, I've been really impressed with Kyle Busch so far in the 2023 season. And I think there is a very good chance of possibility that he does not only make the championship but might win the championship. And it might be not just him going for the championship, but it might also be Kyle Larson as well, battling him for that championship as well at the end of the year. But I think that Kyle Busch easily has a chance to win the championship. And coming into this year, I expect the Kyle Busch at most to get 3 victories. I think by the end of this year now, I think he win 5 or 6 big races, and maybe even more. If this team can figure out the consistency on some of these other types of tracks, I think you're easily going to have a really good chance and a really strong possibility of getting the championship. I think chances are very high for Kyle Busch to get it done. The other thing we talk about is sponsorship. Kyle Busch has been able to get a lot of sponsors. One of the big reasons why Kyle Busch was not able to stay at Joe Gibbs Racing is because he couldn't find a sponsor for him. Joe Gibbs Racing has different sponsorship techniques compared to Rich Schultz Racing. Rich Schultz Racing basically has multiple different company sponsors that sponsor him at different times. Meanwhile, you have Joe Gibbs' team that tries to go for the full season long sponsorship. And I think that type of sponsorship model is not going to work long term. The way that Rich Schultz Racing is doing it at the moment right now, I think is a way that you absolutely do it. And I think that's how sponsorship is going to work long term. But easily, I think Kyle Busch is on a revenge tour. And when you give Kyle Busch some motivation, he performs at his best. Look back this first year at Joe Gibbs Racing. Like I've already mentioned, Kyle Busch scored 8 wins in his first year at Joe Gibbs Racing. After a nasty breakup with Hendrick, he came over to Joe Gibbs Racing and went on to win 8 races. The next year he had motivation was 2015. And he went on to win his first championship after a broken leg at Daytona, came back, won 5 races, and went on to win the championship. And you actually look at historical context as well. He won the 2015 championship and also won the 2019 championship. It's now been 4 years since that 2019 championship, and 2015 was 4 years before 2019. So I think there's a very strong chance and possibility that Kyle Busch wins the championship. If they can figure out the short track product and the short track issues, I think Kyle Busch could easily pick up his 3rd championship. I think he's got a chance to get it done, and Kyle Busch's revenge tour might be able to be complete. But his first year with this team has been very, very impressive. And I think Kyle Busch is going to win more races and will contend for more championships time and time again. And I think he's on the road to chase after Dale Earnhardt on the wins total as well. And I think Kyle Busch wants to win more championships. And I think he's got to have a chance and a possibility. And Kyle Busch has a few more years to do it as well. But like I said, I think Kyle Busch has a really good chance and a great possibility of winning the championship this year. And I think he could win the championship at season's end. So, that is going to be today's special video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Link description below for that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. How's Kyle Busch done so far in the first year with Rich Schultz Racing? Do you think he's done a really good job? Has he exceeded your expectations? Or do you think Kyle Busch could definitely do better? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we have 2 videos on the channel. We have a NASCAR news. We've got some news that's come out over the last couple of days. And we're also going to have race picks for the truck race and national as well. Then on Tuesday, we're going to have race picks for the Xfinity Series race and national, followed by maybe another NASCAR news video on the channel if any news breaks. And then on Wednesday, another NASCAR news video is going to drop. Thursday, we're going to have race picks for the Cup race and national as NBC takes over. And we got a lot of content dropping on the channel as NBC begins their tenure as a broadcaster for NASCAR as we head toward the playoffs. We're going to be starting to talk about that playoff conversation as well as we get closer to that. We're also on the road to 2,500 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you enjoyed today's video and you're new, make sure to subscribe. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Also, I have a second channel. The link will be in the description for that, so if you enjoyed today's video and you get to the end, make sure to subscribe to that second channel. So anyways, guys, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content. Take care, everybody.